The chamber of the Galactic Council was a cathedral of glass and steel, suspended above the endless swirl of a nebula. Delegates from 100 species filled the circular tiers, their voices overlapping in a storm of color, clicks, and tones. At the center podium, Admiral Elias Vorn stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his eyes locked on the shimmering hologram of New Carthage. The once thriving human colony now flickered in ruins, the broadcast showing chains dragging across dirt streets, human families forced into transports under the watch of towering Nigma soldiers. The air thickened with unease as the transmission ended. Elias's voice cut through the silence. New Carthage has been enslaved. 400,000 of my people taken. Their leaders executed in public. The Imperator was warned, and he ignored us. I now deliver humanity's ultimatum: release them immediately, or face consequences beyond measure. His words hung like a blade. Across the chamber, alien representatives shifted uncomfortably. The Coral chittered warnings about restraint, the Illuvians murmured about diplomatic patience. A scaled delegate of the Terek let out a rasping laugh. You humans are rash. You have just begun to crawl among the stars, yet you bark like predators. Do not provoke the Nigma, for their fleets are older than your civilization. Elias's expression never wavered. His gray uniform bore no medals beyond the twin bars of command. We have given warnings. We are not here to threaten. We are here to make it clear: New Carthage will be freed. The council speaker, a translucent being of light, pulsed with unease. Admiral Vorn, humanity's place here is still fragile. A declaration of war against the Nigma Empire could destabilize the arm. Then it is the Nigma who should reconsider, not us, Elias replied. His voice was quiet, but every delegate leaned closer. We will not be prey. Far away, in the black palace of Nigma Prime, High Imperator Kaith lounged on a throne of obsidian, his carapace gleaming under torchlight. A dozen servants bowed as a transmission from the council played before him. Elias's ultimatum echoed across the hall. Kaith's mandibles curled in amusement. They threaten me? These soft-blooded creatures who barely escaped their home system. They mistake words for power. His generals stood rigid, armored in crimson plating. One dared to caution him. My Imperator, the humans' defiance spreads across the council. Their warning should not be. Kaith silenced him with a single gesture, claws clacking. Fear makes weak minds stammer. Watch how quickly humans break once I remind the galaxy of their place. He rose, towering over his court. Order the executions. Broadcast them to every channel. Let the humans watch their leaders hang. The generals bowed, though unease flickered in their eyes. Kaith, blind in arrogance, believed humiliation would force humanity to kneel. On the bastion, humanity's flagship anchored near Earth, Elias returned to his command deck. Stars burned cold beyond the viewport, their light glinting off the hulls of escort destroyers. His aide, Commander Rhea Anvik, approached with a datapad, her brow furrowed. Transmission from New Carthage came through secure channels before the blackout, she said. The screen displayed smuggled footage. Colonists herded into camps. A girl no older than 12 struck across the face when she stumbled. Her cry echoed in the silence of the command deck. Rhea whispered, "They want us to see this." Elias's jaw tightened. He closed the pad gently, as if shielding the child's image. "They want us to break. Instead, they have chosen their end." She hesitated. "The Council won't sanction war. They fear what humanity might unleash as much as they fear the Nigma. Then let them fear." He turned to the crew, his voice steady. "Send one final message to Nigma Prime. Tell them the galaxy will remember this day. Tell them they had their chance." The message was sent, but no reply came. Hours later, in the council chamber, murmurs of disbelief filled the air. The Nigma had broadcast the executions of New Carthage's leaders live. A human governor dangled from a scaffold, his last words defiant before the trapdoor snapped open. Gasps rippled through the alien assembly. Even those who despised humans felt a chill. Elias stood motionless, hands clasped so tightly the knuckles whitened. Kailritha's recorded voice boomed across the chamber. This is the fate of those who defy the Empire. Let humanity watch and learn obedience. When the recording ended, the silence was suffocating. A delegate from the Steri spoke in a cautious hiss. Admiral, you must not respond in kind. Retaliation could unravel all order. Elias lifted his gaze, steel in his eyes. Order is already unraveling. You simply refuse to see it. He turned and walked from the chamber, each step echoing like a drumbeat. No one tried to stop him. Later, alone in his quarters, Elias allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. A family portrait rested on his desk, his wife and son smiling on Earth's green hills. He touched the frame, then activated the intercom. Fleet Command, he said, his voice low but unwavering. Prepare the Phantom Fleet. Silent mobilization. No announcements. No debates. A pause followed. The officer on the other end responded carefully. Admiral, does this mean? It means the Nigma have chosen war. We will answer. Elias cut the line and stared out at the stars. His reflection glimmered faintly in the glass, eyes hard with conviction. We gave them every chance, he murmured. On Nigma Prime, Kailrith stood upon a balcony overlooking the vast legions of his empire. Starships roared overhead, engines blazing crimson, their numbers blotting out the sky. He raised his claws, basking in the roar of his subjects. Let the humans know despair, he declared. When my fleets reach their homeworld, their species will beg for chains. He believed the galaxy already belonged to him. Back on the bastion, Elias convened his captains. A holographic map of the Orion Arm shimmered over the table. Red markers spread across Nigma's space, convoys, slave camps, shipyards. Elias pointed to each one with measured calm. We will strike with precision, he said. Not to conquer, but to cripple. We will remind the galaxy that humanity does not beg for survival, it secures it. One captain asked the question on everyone's mind. And if the council condemns us? Elias's eyes swept the room. Then they condemn us for surviving. Better feared than forgotten. The captain saluted, the weight of history pressing on their shoulders. Outside, the fleet drifted in silence, engines dormant, weapons idle. Yet beneath the hulls, systems hummed awake, stealth drives priming, rail cannons calibrating, torpedoes armed. In the void, humanity's warning still echoed unanswered. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. And in that silence, Admiral Elias Vorn made a promise not only to his people, but to the galaxy. The Nigma Empire has written its fate, he whispered, and humanity will deliver it. The bastion drifted at the edge of Sol, its armored hull reflecting the pale light of the sun. From a distance it looked like a drifting moon, but deep inside, its decks pulsed with activity. Orders moved quietly through encrypted channels, unannounced, unseen. Crews worked with quiet urgency, technicians adjusting reactor cores, engineers sliding warheads into launch bays. No fanfare, no speeches. Only silence. Admiral Elias Vorn stood in the command center, hands clasped behind his back, eyes locked on the galaxy map projected before him. Red icons marked Nigma convoys, outposts, and occupied colonies. Green markers, human fleets, remained hidden, their positions shielded by layers of stealth technology few outsiders knew existed. Commander Rhea Anvik joined him, her uniform marked with the sigil of Earth's Defense Council. The Phantom Fleet reports readiness. 200 ships cloaked and armed. Every crew sworn to secrecy. Elias nodded. And the Council? They still debate. Some want to delay, hoping the Nigma will negotiate. Others say we should wait for allies. None believe the Empire will back down. Elias's gaze sharpened. The Nigma only understand force. Delay means surrender. The council chamber on Earth told a different story. Rows of representatives filled the dome, their voices rising in tension. Screens projected images of destroyed convoys, burning cities, and colonists taken. Fear clashed with pride. Councillor Marin, an elder statesman, spoke sharply. We cannot risk total war. Humanity is strong, But the Nigma command 10 times our fleets. One mistake, and Earth itself burns. General Holt slammed his fist against the desk. One mistake was letting them enslave our people. Every day we hesitate, more die. Our fleets are ready. What are we waiting for? The chamber roared with argument until Elias's voice cut through, calm but unyielding. We warned them. Twice. They executed our governors in defiance. If we show weakness now, every empire watching will know humanity as prey. Do you wish to live under chains? The hall quieted. Elias pressed on. We do not seek conquest. We seek survival. But survival demands deterrence. If we strike to end the threat. No half measures. The silence stretched before Councillor Mayron finally spoke, voice trembling. And if the galaxy condemns us? Then they condemn us for living. The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. The Phantom Fleet had its sanction. In the hangars of stealth cruisers, soldiers prepared in silence. Marines checked their rifles, engineers calibrated exosuits, pilots whispered to one another before sealing their helmets. Families had been told little, only that their loved ones were on duty. None knew what awaited them. On Shadow Spear, one of the Phantom Fleet's flagships, Captain Arlen briefed his crew. We are ghosts. No signals, no transmissions. When the order comes, we strike fast and vanish faster. If you hesitate, others die. Remember New Carthage. Remember the children. The crew answered not with cheers, but with grim nods. They understood the weight of their mission. The first strike came quietly. In a sector patrolled by Nigma slave transports, the void rippled. Out of nothingness, a human destroyer appeared, railguns firing in perfect unison. The convoy's escorts never saw the shot. Metal tore open like paper, engines rupturing in fire. Within seconds, 6 transports drifted lifeless. Distress calls screamed through Nigma channels but cut short as jammers drowned them. Survivors stared into the dark, bewildered. There was no enemy to see. Elsewhere, a mining station feeding Nigma shipyards imploded from within. Saboteur drones slipped through ventilation shafts, detonating charges at the core. By the time Nigma forces arrived, only wreckage remained. Across 3 systems, the story repeated, convoys vanishing, bases silenced, patrols gone without trace. Whispers spread through the galaxy. The humans warned them. The humans have vanished into the dark. On Nigma Prime, Imperator Kaith raged. His throne chamber echoed with his roar, mandibles clicking with fury. Where are my fleets? Why do transports disappear as if swallowed by void? A trembling general bowed low. The attackers, our sensors detect nothing. Ships vanish before alarms trigger. We cannot trace. Kaith's claws slashed the air. Lies! No species hides from the Empire. Mobilize the Armada. 2,000 ships. If humans crawl from their burrows, I will burn their world to cinders. The general dared not protest. Orders spread across the Empire. The Nigma Armada gathered, crimson ships flooding space like a tide of steel and fire. Back aboard the Bastion, Elias reviewed the reports. Each strike had been flawless, each loss inflicted with surgical precision. Yet he felt no triumph, only grim certainty. Commander Rhea entered. The Imperator is mobilizing. 2,000 ships, Admiral. They're coming for Earth. The crew stilled, waiting for his reaction. Elias's expression remained unchanged. Good, he said softly. It ends sooner than expected. Rhea frowned. We're outnumbered 10-1. Even with stealth, even with surprise. He turned to her. Numbers do not decide wars. Resolve does. The Nigma believe we fear them. We will show them what fear truly means. That night, Elias walked the observation deck alone. The stars stretched endless before him, ancient and indifferent. His reflection stared back from the glass, a man burdened with decisions no one should bear. He remembered New Carthage, the broadcasts, the girl struck down, the silence of those taken. He thought of his son on Earth, growing in a world that still believed peace could be bargained. Elias whispered to the void, We gave them every chance. They chose arrogance. We will give them truth. In the depths of human space, the Phantom Fleet assembled. 200 ships glided in silence, black holes absorbing starlight, cloaks bending them into nothingness. The crews waited, engines thrumming low, weapons armed. No one outside humanity knew the full scope of their arsenal. Railguns capable of tearing capital ships in half, singularity torpedoes designed to collapse worlds, AI-guided drones with impossible reaction times. These were weapons built not for conquest, but as deterrence. Now deterrence had failed. Elias's voice reached every ship, calm and measured. This is not vengeance. This is not conquest. This is survival. The Nigma sought to enslave our kind. We will answer with finality. Hold to discipline. Strike only with purpose. When history remembers this war, it will not say humanity lashed out in rage. It will say humanity endured. The channel fell silent. Across 200 bridges, crews tightened straps, hands rested on controls. Every man and woman knew what was coming. In the Galactic Council, whispers spread like wildfire. Reports arrived of Nigma fleets vanishing, convoys destroyed, slave camps liberated. Delegates murmured in disbelief. The starry delegate hissed. The humans, their technology is beyond our records. How long have they hidden this? The Illuvian ambassador replied in a low voice. Perhaps this is why the council always warned, never provoke them. Fear and awe blended in equal measure. For the first time, the galaxy began to understand, the warnings had not been bluster. Back aboard the Bastion, Elias stood as final confirmations arrived. His captains reported readiness. The Phantom Fleet awaited his command. The edge of Nigma space glowed with the light of 2,000 warships. Crimson hulls stretched across the void, a wall of firepower unmatched in the Orion Arm. At the center, the Imperial flagship, Dominion's Wrath, bristled with weapons. High Imperator Kaith stood on its bridge, claws resting on the command rail, eyes fixed on the black horizon. They will come, he growled. Arrogant humans think themselves predators. Today they will learn their place. Behind him, generals nodded, though unease lingered in their faces. None had forgotten the convoys that vanished without trace. Far from the armada, Admiral Elias Vorn stood on the Bastion's bridge. 200 human ships drifted silently, cloaked in shadow. Their formations were tight, precise, every weapon primed. He studied the enemy fleet on the holographic display, a sea of red signals stretching far beyond his own. Commander Rhea Anvik leaned close. 2,000 against 200. 10-1. Some captains wonder if survival is possible. Elias's voice was calm. We don't need to survive, we need to break them. Once their fear takes hold, numbers will mean nothing. He raised his hand. Signal the fleet. Begin. The void erupted. Human destroyers decloaked for seconds at a time, firing railgun salvos that tore through Nigma hulls before vanishing again. Stealth drones darted through formations, detonating plasma charges in engines. Cruisers unleashed electronic pulses that blinded Nigma sensors, turning the Armada's coordination into chaos. On the Dominion's Wrath, Kaith roared in fury as ship after ship vanished from his displays. Find them! Hunt them down! His officers scrambled. Imperator, we detect nothing until they fire. It is as if... Excuses! Kaith slammed his claws into the rail. Bring the Armada forward. Crush them by sheer mass. Thousands of Nigma's ships surged ahead, unleashing torrents of plasma and missile fire into empty space. The humans were already gone, slipping behind them, striking where shields were weakest. Inside the Bastion, Elias watched with surgical focus. Concentrate fire on their carriers. Blind their fighters. Keep moving, never let them track us. Orders spread across the Phantom Fleet. Railguns cracked again and again, each shot punching through Nigma armor. Singularity mines detonated in the path of capital ships, tearing cruisers apart in silent implosions. One by one, the Armada's formations fractured. Panic spread across Nigma comms, their discipline breaking under invisible assault. Rhea exhaled, eyes wide. Admiral, it's working. Elias remained cold. It's only begun. Hours passed. The battlefield was a graveyard of burning wrecks. Thousands of Nigma soldiers screamed across open comms, begging for orders that never came. Human losses were sharp but controlled. Their precision outweighed the enemy's overwhelming numbers. At last, Kaith opened a direct channel. His towering form flickered across the bastion's bridge, mandibles dripping venom. You dare defy an empire that has stood for centuries? Do you think your kind can erase us? Elias faced him without flinching. We warned you. Twice. You chose arrogance. Now you face consequence. Kaith's voice thundered. You will pay for this defiance. I will execute every human child in my prisons. Elias's eyes hardened. He cut the transmission with a gesture. Enough. On the surface of New Carthage, human marines stormed the camps. Nigma guards fell under precise fire as gates were forced open. Colonists poured out, their chains cut, their eyes wide with disbelief. Children clung to soldiers, tears streaming down faces hardened by suffering. Captain Arlen reported back to the fleet. New Carthage liberated. Survivors secured. They call us saviors. For the first time, Elias allowed a breath of relief. Yet it was fleeting. Reports came of atrocities on other colonies, executions, mass graves, experiments. Each image hardened his resolve. The decision came that night. In the war room, his captains argued heatedly. One slammed a fist on the table. Admiral, we've broken their armada. Withdraw now. Let them lick their wounds. Another countered, voice sharp. If we stop here, they will rebuild. In 10 years, they'll enslave us again. We must end this, completely. Rhea looked at Elias, searching his face. The Singularity torpedoes were built as deterrents. If we use them, we cross a line the galaxy cannot ignore. Elias's voice was low but steady. The line was crossed when they enslaved our children. We finish this war before another begins. Silence followed. No one challenged him again. The Phantom Fleet descended on Nigma Prime. Defenses crumbled in hours, planetary shields shattered under relentless bombardment. Civilians fled in panic, the Empire's capital shaking under the firestorm above. On the Bastion's bridge, a single weapon was prepared. A torpedo the size of a corvette, its core a singularity caged in magnetic fields. It hummed with a pull that bent light itself. Rhea whispered, Once we release it, there's no going back. Elias's eyes never left the planet below. There was no going back the day they enslaved New Carthage. He gave the order. Fire! The torpedo descended. For a heartbeat, it glowed against the sky like a falling star. Then the singularity tore free, a black wound ripping the capital apart. Buildings crumbled into molten rivers, oceans boiled, the planet's core collapsed in silence. Within minutes, Nigma Prime was gone, swallowed into itself, leaving only a drifting field of glass and ash. On the Dominion's wrath, Kaith watched his world vanish. His final roar echoed across dead channels before the flagship imploded, dragged into the void of its own dying planet. The Nigma Empire ceased to exist in a single night. When the fleet returned to Council space, the chamber was silent. Every delegate stared as Elias Vorn entered, his uniform unadorned, his expression unreadable. No one mocked humanity now. No one dared. The speaker pulsed faintly. Admiral, the Nigma Empire is gone. Entirely. Do you seek conquest? Elias's reply was cold and measured. We seek peace. But hear me well, touch humanity again, and you will share their fate. The chamber remained in stunned silence. For the first time in centuries, fear bound the council together. Later, aboard the Bastion, Elias stood alone on the observation deck. The stars stretched endless, quiet witnesses to the war's end. He placed his hand against the glass, eyes on the distant void. We gave them every chance, he whispered. And they chose extinction. Behind him, the fleet drifted homeward, carrying both survivors and scars. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity was no longer dismissed as prey. They were the species who had warned, and when ignored, erased an empire.